Okay, on the list of top 10 questions that every fitness professional has ever been asked, how much cardio should I do for fat loss? And the answer is, that's not the right question. What do I mean by that? So cardio or aerobic training, conditioning, metabolic conditioning, whatever you want to call it, it is very important for fat loss, but not for the reason you think it is. Most people think they're doing cardio so they'll burn more calories. So classic one, not going to mention names, but there's some class-based facilities, group training-based facilities that measure calorie output for a whole class. Seems right. Seems logically makes sense. However, why do we do quote-unquote cardio very specific to what I would consider like custom cardio or custom conditioning? Because it really depends on the individual, and here's why. You're not using cardio as the actual tool to burn fat. What you're using it as is your ability to handle the work that will build the muscle and create the conditions to put you in an optimal environment to burn more calories than you take in. That environment is optimized primarily by your basal metabolic rate, which is determined mostly by your amount of skeletal muscle mass. So building and maintaining skeletal muscle mass and then creating a deficit is the best way, primarily one of the only good ways to burn fat. So if you walk into a facility and you're deconditioned, you haven't been working out, your resting heart rate is high, you've got high blood pressure, all those fun things, the worst thing in the world for that person to do is jump into high intensity training or even a ton of really heavy volume strength training. And you've seen people do this, it might have even happened to you. It happens to a lot of people. They just get trashed. The other alternative being the person who does do a lot of cardio and just keeps doing it and never builds any muscle appreciably, never works on their strength training. I always say there's an easy analogy, and let's throw the drugs out for a minute, but bodybuilders are always the leanest individual, and they don't do nearly as much cardio as they do strength training, at least traditionally. So, and they're certainly not doing boot camps. If they're doing any cardio training, it's lower intensity. So what do we learn from that? Well, they've built the optimal environment hormonally and metabolically so that they can do more work. So think of cardio as your ability to do the amount of work, your body's readiness to do the type and amount of work that is going to create the environment that is going to help you burn more fat. Well, build more muscle first and then burn more fat. That's what we want to build. That's sustainable. Doing cardio and then more cardio and then more cardio and then more group classes is an awesome way to beat your body up really bad and create a more stressful environment, which is the opposite of what we're trying to create. We're trying to lower stress situations. We're trying to, obviously there's good stress where we're creating tissue breakdown and then rebuilding. That's what we want. We want to reduce the bad stress. So think about that when you're choosing what to do, when to do cardio. If you're confused about it, hit us up and I say, hey, here's where I'm at. I haven't been training. What should I start with? If you're coming in with a high resting heart, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's actually better because you're more likely to continue because you're just going to do some work at the beginning of your program that's going to help you get in the shape you need to get into to step into phase 2, which is your ability to do more work. Think about it like investing. It's like if you don't have enough money initially to invest, you're not going to get a whole lot of return. So we want to build that money first, and then we're going to get a much bigger return going forward rather than just getting $2 and trying to get a big return on that time over time. So build that, improve your cardio just to facilitate your ability to burn more muscle. Unless you're playing a sport or you're doing marathons, whatever, totally different goal. But to look your best, to be the leanest you can be, use cardio as a tool to build the environment to burn more fat.